Hello, everyone. Make sure I'm all squared away here. I think so. I can see my chat. I can see myself too many times. There we go. All right. Got some folks hopping in. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll get started in just a sec. But welcome to our 7th Community Roundup for this month of July 2021. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for joining me. In all likelihood, this will be our last roundup for a little bit. I'm out at the end of next month to do some moving, things like that, and we'll also be kind of gearing up for more user summit stuff. So there may be other things in this space on this channel. I may do other live things, but this will probably be our last roundup for a couple months at least. Yeah, thanks so much for joining. Feel free to say hello in chat. I'm glad you're here. I see we've got some folks joining us, which is great. And we'll get right into it today. Oh, I can hear myself from my computer. There we go. Don't need that. All right, so nothing out of the ordinary for agenda today. Quick little intro, some awesome user highlights. Actually, user highlights are what I've got most of today. Product highlights from Formlabs, nothing new in terms of actual products, but some cool website features, things like that I'm going to run through because I think it's pretty interesting. Other kind of where we are this month, trade shows, things like that, webinars if anyone is curious. No interview this month. Folks are busy, and it's summertime. People are on vacation, things like that. And then we'll have time for general Q&A at the end, which I'm happy to hang out for a bit. If people have questions or just want to chat about 3D printing, whatever else is on your mind, yeah, definitely would love for people to hang out. But let's dig in. As usual, quick little intro. This is the Formlabs Community Roundup. It's just a place where we set aside an hour a month to do this live, obviously, with you guys. Talk about what Formlabs is up to, what we care about, what cool stuff we've seen, what products we're releasing, other things going on in our world at the moment, as well as taking questions from y'all, which is cool. Very quickly, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this before, so I won't linger. My name is Dan Kirschgessner. I'm the community manager here at Formlabs. I'll actually hit 5 years at the company in 2 weeks, which is wild. So yeah, it's great to be here. Great to talk to everyone. Yeah, we'll keep going from there. So, digging right into user highlights, I've got a couple this month. Wanted to start with one that, yeah, it's an industry we don't see that often, but one that I like to highlight when I see it. And I think I've probably mentioned that before, but architecture is an interesting thing in the 3D printing space, especially in the SLA 3D printing space, because a lot of the attributes that make a good architectural print can be particularly challenging for an SLA machine. But I wanted to use a highlight LaneyLA, which is an architecture firm that we've done some partnerships with in the past. And I was kind of browsing through recent Instagram content, things like that, and saw they had posted this really beautiful house model, which it looks like it was printed in white resin. But yeah, super neat, really awesome to see. If anyone in chat, I'm curious, has experience doing architectural stuff on a Formlabs machine or on any machine, whether it's FDM, SLA, SLS, I'd be curious to know, because it's a world I really I think is really cool. Like I said, I'm moving in a bit, and I didn't have a chance to get every measurement of the dimensions of my apartment, but a lot of people at Formlabs have modeled their apartments before they move to plan out where they're gonna put furniture and things like that, which is really cool. Next time I plan on getting together everything I need in order to do that, because I think it's really neat. Cool, moving right along, and again, I'll say, please don't hesitate to jump into chat, even just to say, "Oh, cool," if you're around, or if not, no worries. Yeah, user interaction helps this be more interesting for everyone. Oh, and I'll mention before I forget, as usual, the links to everything, every slide I put up should have a link in the description below this video. So if you want to dig in more, or hopefully even ask the artist questions or anything like that about their work, please jump down there and check it out. This is a great example of that, because this came from our community forums, which is awesome, and I love to highlight cool prints that come out of there. But this was done, I believe, just in gray resin on a Form 3, and then was painted using acrylic paints, and I think it looks absolutely terrific, and I wanted to highlight. This was done by user Explore76 on the Formlabs forums, which, like I said, you can find linked down below. I'm sure people have seen a lot of Yoda and Mandalorian prints at this point, but for being a home painted version, I thought this was really wild and lovely to see, yeah, a good showpiece for the 3L printing as well, with the flowing cape out back and all those little kind of belt features and things like that. So yeah, beautiful print. Explore76, if you end up seeing this, great job. Keep going. We love to see your stuff, and we appreciate you posting on the forums. Moving right along, another one from our community forums, another really cool little project. So this is done by Potutatos on our forums, which is a delightful name that made me laugh quite a bit as I was putting this presentation together. They're doing this really cool, like, designing and printing and painting miniature kind of chibi versions of anime characters. So you can see their model there on the top right, as well as some printed versions next to it. And then the picture I really enjoyed seeing was this kind of all of the flesh tone prints on one build platform on the left there, which is cool to see. And they obviously did a pretty exemplary job of cramming as much as they possibly could onto this build platform, which is awesome. So yeah, there's a ton more examples if you want to check out the link below of the cool stuff this user has done with this project. I only grabbed a small sampling of photos. There were plenty more, so highly recommend checking that out. And another cool project. So thanks for posting that, Potutatos or Potutatos. Next up, just some cool high detail entertainment prints, which I wanted to show off, which I found on Instagram. Tagged with Formlabs is typically how I find this stuff. So if you want your work to get noticed by us, tagging us in it is a great way to do it, because we do definitely look through it and poke around and see what's cool out there. This one is a really, really beautiful alien queen, xenomorph queen from Alien, and they did a full rotating. Maybe I could bring that up in a second, the actual rotating video of it, because it's wild. And then secondly, I just thought this was a really cute little, like, pangolin model, which is both cool to see just as a print, but also what a cool showpiece for kind of SLA technology in general. The detail of those overlapping plates and things like that is really rad, and awesome to see. Yeah, let me see if I can bring that video up really briefly, because it's neat. Just hide that for a moment. Here we go. Now I'll bring it right back. Thanks for waiting. So, a lot of really awesome stuff. I think this is the squid from Finding Dory, if I'm not mistaken, which is also, this artist does a lot of really beautiful stuff across the board in a bunch of different mediums. This is clay. I saw some other sculpting techniques further down below, but really beautiful. Let me see if I can find that alien queen again for everybody. See if we can there it is. Get a little rotating platter action. Get the full view. So cool. Yeah, so link down below. Highly recommend checking out a lot of their work, because as you can see, they do a really wide variety of really, really amazing work that I really wanted to highlight and show off. So amazing, so cool to see. So yeah, thanks for showing this off, Margot. Really appreciate it. This is really awesome. All right, and yeah, the pangolin was there as well. I just like pangolins, both as a word and as an animal and as a 3D print. Across the board, thumbs up on pangolins. Next up, continuing my series of highlighting Adam Savage's work. This was a recent video he did just a couple days ago. Someone asked him about kind of when he would use machining versus 3D printing, and he gave a really lovely answer to that question and showed off his blaster again that has a lot of Form 3L printed parts on it. AJ, hello. SLA indeed. Yeah, let me know if I apologize if I'm not sure quite what you're replying to, but I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, really cool video. I linked it down below if you're interested in checking it out. Sort of he goes through his thought process on when these processes used to be good, and also what CAD software to use and things like that, which is actually a topic I'll get into in a little bit as well on the Formlabs end of things. So I'll talk about that more. But yeah, I'm going to keep showing off the cool Adam Savage stuff because I like to keep people apprised of what's going on, and it delights me because it's a big inspiration for me. So seeing him use our stuff is really cool and exciting. And I'll say for anyone who's just joining us, please feel free to jump into chat and say hello. I promise I'm keeping a close eye on it, so don't feel like it'll go by. And I'm happy to answer questions, chat about whatever pops up on screen. So just jump in. I also want to show off just a cool kind of more practical print that someone did because they needed it, and I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is a kind of shop vac nozzle designed on the 3L. You can see it's pretty large compared on the right hand side there next to that drill. It's a big burly print, but obviously works well. There's a video on this person's Instagram as well, which I recommend checking it out. Jorge _CNC. And yeah, really cool. I'm such an advocate for, there's a part of your shop that needs repairing, or for example, you need a new nozzle like this, and rather than needing to track down the specific nozzle and all that stuff, you can just take some measurements and print out gear yourself at home is so cool, and I love that stuff. So really appreciate this person posting this, and there's a nice video of them using it to vacuum up sawdust and things as well, which is cool. It's also good to see Rari Cat there in the comments there, a user that we've done a lot of cool stuff with as well. All right. No vacuum comments. That's fine. I'm not offended at all. We can move right along. Lastly, some of you may have seen this if you're members of the 3D printing subreddit on Reddit. But this is a cool thing to see in the world because we really haven't seen many fuse parts really get out there in a I guess more public friendly way. Most people are using the fuse for what it's designed for, which is kind of small batch prototyping, things like that. Rapid iteration, some end-use parts as well, but it tends to be more private. People are obviously printing stuff for their work, and that tends to not show up on Reddit or Instagram. Go figure. So this was really cool to see, which is a more kind of for fun print done on the fuse, which is awesome. It sounds like this user had access to a fuse through their work, so they were able to mess with it and do some prints for fun, which is cool. Similar to Formlabs, I guess. But the really exciting and cool thing about this print is that the wheels spin, obviously, because no supports are needed on the fuse because it's all kind of powder supported. But beyond that, even more, is that they were able to get suspension working. So if you look on the right-hand side there, you can actually see some printed shocks, which were all done in the same single print. And it sounds like they didn't post a video or anything. I wish they did, of them like rolling over some pencils or something like that to show off the articulating suspension, but super cool and awesome to see. And it looks like they were really happy with the results both here and for their more professional work, which is awesome. So glad to see the Fuse is out there. People are really using it and getting some cool stuff out of it. We love to see it, and this is a great example of that sort of print. And I believe that's it for our user highlights section. Let me make sure. Yes, indeed. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns about anything there, feel free to hop into chat. Moving right along, wanted to highlight a few things from the Formlabs website that are recent launches, or at least launches in the last month since I last did one of these roundups. The first one I wanted to highlight is a project that I sort of started by running a lot of webinars and things with CAD companies during the pandemic last year. And that sort of turned into how can we use this video content we built to construct a more overall broad guide on how to choose which CAD software is right for you. I assume most people watching this right now are already using CAD software of some kind, or your workflows are relatively locked in, but maybe not. And if you're not, this is a great thing to check out. So this is a huge page of information, this matrix of information you see on the right-hand side here, all about various types of CAD software. Blender, Creo, FreeCAD, Fusion, Mesh Mixer, Onshape, ZBrush, all those things. We really wanted to do a comprehensive overview of all those pieces of software and what they're good for, what they're not good for, and the prices of them, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I have a few pictures up here, but I'll just show off some of this page as well. So we have sections like what is CAD, what benefits of CAD, uses, types of software systems, so surface modeling versus solid versus parametric versus polygonal, all that sort of stuff is outlined and given a really good guide. Generative design, by industry, how to choose. Here's that big matrix I showed off. And then we actually go into a lot of more specifics for each piece of software. And a lot of them have an accompanying video to give you a walkthrough of the basics of the software and also how it's used for 3D printing. So, if anyone's interested in this, please feel free to check it out. It's in the link below. As is usual with a lot of the blog posts and things like this that Formlabs produces, while obviously we have a Formlabs slant to it, we try to write this sort of stuff to be pretty platform agnostic. So regardless of your printing technology, you should be able to get a lot of use out of a guide like this. So if you're someone who maybe wants to, working with students or working with a group of folks who might not be in the CAD world yet and aren't sure how to get started, this is something I would encourage you to grab the link below and send it out and see if this is useful to them. We really designed it that way. We want it to be something that people can just send out to anyone in their network to learn more about getting into CAD and what's needed and what's the right thing for them in terms of price and difficulty and uses and all that kind of stuff. So huge thanks to our content team for sort of taking what I started and really running with it. This is an insane amount of really, really good work they did to put this guide together, and I'm really thankful to them for all that effort. So recommend checking it out. Like I said, links down below if I think it's labeled CAD guide or something like that. Want to show that one off. Neoprod, hi from France. Thanks so much for joining us today. Glad you're able to join us at I presume, the very end of your workday. Glad you could be here. It's probably 5 or 6 o'clock somewhere over there. That's awesome. Our European office is in Berlin, so we do a lot of work with them, and we're all pretty used to the time change, things like that. Next up is another more kind of specific one. Excuse me one second. Long time talking. Also, we're getting West Coast smoke from the fires here on the East Coast, so the air is not great in Boston at the moment, despite those fires being 3,000 miles away. Nicholas, hello from Hong Kong. Thank you so much for joining us. This is what we call the ROI calculator, or return on investment, for anyone who's not in the jargon. Basically, the idea of this page is to help you determine whether Formlabs printers in general are useful for what you're doing in terms of industry and volume and resin and all that stuff. In just a sec, I'll go through that as well. Neoprod, I use my Form 3 for my Star Wars droid build. I love this machine. That's awesome. Are you? I've seen a lot of people doing like big part full size droids out of a bunch of different parts. Are you doing one of those, or are you doing a more kind of scaled down version? Either way, cool. I'd love to see photos if you're doing either version, but those big ones are really cool when people are like building statues for their house out of prints. That's awesome. I'll just show off kind of the workflow of this guide a little bit. It's designed to show you how much time and money you can save using 3D printing as opposed to other kind of manufacturing processes. And maybe you get to the end of this and decide that it's not good for you, and that's fine. We don't want people to buy printers they're not going to use. So, if you get to the end of this and decide, not for me, then great, it's done its job, right? But let's say we're in the engineering field, so we'll click engineering. And then continue. And then it asks you to pick the 3D printer that best fits your application. So largely this is probably going to be a function of size, how much space you need to work with in terms of the parts you're going to be printing. So it gives you the build volumes for each printer right there as well. So let's say we're going to do engineering parts on the Form 3. So we'll hit continue then there as well. Oh, wow, okay. All right, I'm going to get to chat in just a sec. I'll get through this, and then I want to talk about Star Wars droids. So next up, you want to select a benchmark part. So the idea around this is you want to pick a part that most closely resembles the size, volume, and function of the part you're looking to 3D printer manufacture. So here we have examples like this key fob, a buckle, silicone mold, a razor, an Arduino case, manifold for air, thermoforming mold, spray bottle speaker, all kinds of different options. So let's say we want something that's like a buckle, and I'll hit continue there as well. And then it asks you to outline your production needs. So how many parts per day, and then your labor cost. And it will do some calculations on the next slide or on the next page. But it will tell you here the dimensions of a part like this, how much resin would be used, parts per year on a certain amount of printers, things like that. And then lastly, we'll get to this page where you can adjust any of those settings we chose in previous pages. But then down here, it'll start to give you some more valuable data to tell you if this is be a good return on investment. So the cost per part, how much production time per part, the max weekly prints based on the size and shape of the part. And then, if you fill in some information there, you can get the full complete report. So if you're someone who's kind of on the fence about 3D printing and you're not sure if you want to dig in 100%, this is a great guide to figure out if it's good for you. And I'll say if you get to the end of this process and you're still not sure, absolutely reach out to our sales team. They're more than happy to work through your workflow with you and figure out if Formlabs 3D printers are the right fit for your needs. And like I said, we don't want to sell people printers that they're not going to use. That doesn't help us or them. So we'd rather people figure out if they're going to be able to use something like this. Anyway, thanks for looking at the return on investment calculator. We're really excited about it. It's brand new on our website in the last couple weeks. Would encourage you to check it out and mess with it. And like I said, it's linked below. Awesome. Now I want to think about Star Wars droids. So, full-size R2-D2, amazing. We have one of those in our office as well. Let me see. Formlabs multi-part assembly. We actually did a blog post on how to make bigger than your build volume prints, and the example part in throughout this entire guide is a full-size R2-D2. So definitely super cool, and we love to see that sort of stuff. And K2SO, I'm trying to remember which movie KS2O is from. Is that Rogue One? Let me know. I can't remember. AJ, hello from Thailand. So glad you could join us. I apologize. I don't know off the top of my head what time it is in Thailand, but I assume it's not noon. So thank you for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah. Glad to see you're into this. And whether or not this was useful to you, clearly these techniques were pretty critical for that sort of build, which is awesome. And then you can see here at the bottom is the complete finished product, which for a while was sitting at our reception desk in our office in Boston, and I think it's still around the office somewhere. I don't know if it's still welcoming guests, but it was for a while, which is great. I'd always want to work somewhere where there are Star Wars droids just hanging out. That's a good guide for how I want to live my life. Hello from Uzbekistan, Bahodir. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, but welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. We'd love to know what you work on, Bahodir. What industry you're in, what you're working on lately, that sort of stuff. Yeah, Form 3, you can produce final parts. You just need to cure and paint. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's awesome. And hopefully, it sounds like you don't have to do too much post-processing to get supports off. Obviously, that comes up pretty often, but that's great. Tough 2000 Gray Pro. Yep, those are excellent choices. Gray Pro is probably my favorite resin across the board. It's super high detail, but also not out of the realms of just like a normal print. So that's awesome. Using clear to print lenses, that is really cool as well. Here, I can show you another awesome blog post we did. If you have recommendations for how to get like really clear, optically clear prints, definitely let us know. Everyone is always asking us, how can I get these really amazing, like, transparent lenses? Here's another one you can see. Another blog we did on how to make lenses, and obviously how to finish lenses, which is the most challenging part. Is it often takes a ton of work to get to that point. Awesome product development, Bahadur. That's rad. Are you already using 3D Formlabs printers, or are you looking around? Are you poking at it a little bit? Oh yeah, okay. So you're just using polish. That's an awesome method that we've seen, where you basically take a fresh out of the printer part, give it a rough polish, but you don't have to go overboard. And then if you dunk it, or I've seen it dunked in furniture polish, it will kind of smooth out all of the imperfections on the surface of the print and produce an immediately really clear part, which is so cool. So that's awesome. Quickly just going to go to our next slide here, and then I'll get back to chat in a minute. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you're someone who's interested in jewelry and learning more about jewelry and how jewelers are currently using Formlabs machines, we recently did what we call an office hours, where a bunch of users were able to jump in and ask questions with our jewelry industry expert here at Formlabs, which was awesome, and we love to love to do sessions like that, especially for the more niche industries like jewelry, where the actual market is not that many people, but they're really passionate and excited, and they have very specific needs. This is a really good place to learn more about that. So obviously, if you jump into this, if you watch this session on demand, it's totally free. You won't be able to ask questions because it's pre-recorded. It had already happened, but it's a great way to get some information about the current state of jewelry 3D printing at Formlabs. Excuse me. Awesome. New prod. Position of STL is very important for best result in clear. I bet. Do you have to sort of put your supports on the edges where you won't need as much light passing through? I assume that's sort of how you have to adjust it. Like if you were doing a lens, you'd put it on the rim of the lens rather than one on one face or the other, basically. John, greetings. Thanks so much for joining us. I see your question. I'll get to it in just a minute. And yeah, that's a great question. Happy to answer it. I'll get to it in just a sec. I think I like 2 more slides, and then I'm into Q&A and happy to hang out for a while. So yeah, I mentioned this before, but I wanna bring it up again because it's neat. Recently, Fusion 360 added some preform integrations into it, so you can get the Formlabs build volume as well as some material characteristics into Fusion about Formlabs materials, which is awesome. We did a really cool project with them where we did a joint website with a custom sample part and some cool user stories and a webinar and all kinds of stuff, all of which are hosted on this page. You can find that link below. If you're a Fusion user who's also a Formlabs user, I'd highly encourage you to check it out. There's a ton of good information there, and more to come. It's just getting started, this relationship, and we're excited to expand it as we go. And then my last spiel, and I appreciate everyone for hanging with me so far. The Formlabs User Summit is back. We're super excited. Last year we did it virtually at the end of October. We're doing the same thing again this year, virtual end of October. As you can see here, 26th and 27th. It is 100% free. We will have 2 full days of content based on wherever you are in the world. We'll have some Asia specific content. We'll have some Europe specific content. We'll have some US and South America specific content. We're really, really excited about it. We've got a ton of great speakers. Like I said, totally free. Tell your friends, show up. We'll have cool surprises, games, awesome speakers, all kinds of stuff. So totally free. We'd love to see you there. If you have questions or want more information, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to elucidate on any confusion. But we're really excited. And yeah, we've already got a ton of people coming, so that's great. All right, Q&A. Let's get to it. John Jones asked, greetings. Curious about the library life of parts tooling printed in the resin. Will they last for decades, or eventually change dimensions or turn back to goo? Thanks. I love hearing our material described as goo. It's better than juice, which for some reason, whenever I was working support, I hated when people said, I'm having problems with your juice. I don't know why that grossed me out so much. Great question. So I'll say that there are some parts of this question that we are not able to answer. And the reason for that is we haven't been around for decades to do tests. But your question is a really good one and a fair one. Certainly years out of prints. I've had prints that have lasted for years in a totally solid state with, from what I can tell, minimal shrinkage, if any at all. If you properly finish and post-process your part with UV light and heat in a form of cure or otherwise, and you sort of really finish the cure process, the changes after that should be pretty minimal in terms of light exposure, temperature, things like that. That being said, I don't want to say never, and I can't guarantee anything. If you're printing something and it's in extreme cold or extreme heat cycling between hot and cold, and you're outdoors in the sun or any number of these combinations, there's a chance that your part may degrade over years or whatever, depending on your time scale and your usage and things like that. We hope they'll hang around for a while, and obviously some of our tougher materials, like tough, are designed to really stay around for a while. But never say never. I will say our prints, it is impossible for the prints to go back to a liquid state once they are printed. We've gotten some really interesting questions of folks asking if you could melt a part back down to its component parts. The answer is no. You can't reverse the UV energy input in a way that allows the part to go back to solid. In all likelihood, the way it would degrade is by cracking and breaking eventually, but not melting, thankfully. Great question, John. I hope that answered it. Please feel free to jump into chat and ask for clarifying if you need that. Chan, hey, hope you're well, Dan. Thanks. Glad you're here. You made it to another live video. Excellent. I'm so glad. Like I said, we'll probably be taking a break from the roundups in August at least, because I'm moving at the end of the month, and I'll be out for a couple weeks. But I think this whole system has been really fun, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'd like to keep doing it. So I might kind of reinvestigate the structure of these sessions and make sure the way it's happening now is the way I want to keep doing it. But I really enjoy chatting with everyone here and answering questions, and I'd like to do more. And if there's more interaction that you guys want to have out of a session like this, or different content, or more 3D printing industry stuff, I'm obviously not going to become a news show. We are going to be Formlabs focused, but I'm happy to talk about other printers of technology or stuff like that if people are curious. So, yeah, please let me know. I'm always happy to take feedback. As usual, there is a survey linked below in the video description. It's totally anonymous, but it's a great way to give me feedback about specifically this community roundup session. If you have notes of what you'd like to see more of, less of, different of, all that kind of stuff, I appreciate that feedback, because if you guys don't tell me, I won't know. Cool. Like I said, I've got another little bit here to hang out for questions. If people have got any, awesome. If not, that's cool. Like I said, please sign up for the Formlabs User Summit. We'd love to see you there. It's totally free. All of the content and sessions that will happen during the show will be available on demand after, but it'll be great to get interaction. You can ask questions of industry experts and things like that. Last year we had the head of props for Marvel movies in a session to talk about how they use Formlabs machines while making props for all of the various Marvel movies, as well as they use Formlabs printers for set dressing in the background of some shots. So if you're a little eagle-eyed and want to find Form 1s and Form 2s in the background of some scenes in Marvel movies, go for it. They're definitely there, I can promise you. What else are they in? They're in... printers are in Superstore, the show, which is fun. I always enjoy that they show up in the printers aisle in Superstore, like next to, HP, like 2D printers, things like that. So I always enjoy seeing Form 1s. I think they were on that show, hanging out on the shelf. Yeah, and if not, no other questions for today. I hope everyone has a great day. If you're in the States, I hope you're breathing well today. It's pretty gnarly out there. The smoke is 3,000 miles away from California, and we're still getting it here, so that's intense and is making my throat all scratchy, so I apologize. Well, cool. Sounds like we'll call it there. Thanks again so much, everyone, for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. Like I said, taking a break in August, and I'll put out more updates. Obviously, if you found this session today through social media or whatever, I think our social media guy James did a really great post to let everyone know this is happening. We'll keep doing that to keep people in the loop on the plans here. Oh, it looks like James is in chat and is filling in for me. So there we go. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Yeah, Ant-Man, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. Those are the ones where you can spot our printers in the background. So it's always fun to see. Yeah, I hope everyone has a terrific rest of the week. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.